What a morning. We've had an incredible set of announcements for Gemini Enterprise today, including the launch of the Gemini Enterprise agent platform and more on how Gemini Enterprise works with Workspace in the spotlight session immediately following Thomas's keynote. Thank you so much for joining late in the day and after a packed first day at Next. In this session, we'll share more details on what's new for Gemini Enterprise, in particular, the application-level solution that allows employees to leverage AI and agents throughout the enterprise. I'll grab a clicker, because I didn't grab that. I'll go to the next slide. My name's Jamie Tagare. I'm a product leader on Google Cloud AI team, working on Gemini Enterprise, our agent platform, developer tools. And I'm joined by an esteemed panel of colleagues today, including Dave Tagare, who's our engineering leader for Gemini Enterprise, and two of our most innovative customers that are transforming how their organizations work with Gemini Enterprise. Purcell is the Managing Director of Digital Innovation at KPMG, and Knab is the Head of Agentic Use Case Management at one of Germany's largest insurance companies, Iduna. So let's dive in, starting with Gemini Enterprise. We launched Gemini Enterprise in October and have seen tremendous adoption across industries. Gemini Enterprise is that front door to AI in the workplace. It gives every employee the ability to leverage AI and agents connected to all of your enterprise data and with the ability to take actions in all of your enterprise systems. Importantly, from day one, Gemini Enterprise has been built to be cloud-first and enterprise-grade. And today we announced the underlying platform for that with the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform and a bunch of expansions to how we do that and govern that across your organization. Gemini Enterprise allows your employees to leverage a whole team of agents to collaborate with other employees and with agents in a persistent team memory space, and it enables every employee to build their own agents through no code. And the impact of this is real. We have customers like Anaplan that have rolled this out across the organization, with 80% of employees using it, building thousands of no-code agents. Macquarie Bank in Australia, who is transforming to become an AI-driven bank, literally envisioning a future where the whole bank can operate through AI. And they've been able to drive a 40% increase in help center self-service. They're using agents to help with fraud prevention, personalized recommendations, and more. And both Aaron and Lisa will talk more about how they're using it at their organizations in a few moments. Now, importantly, as I said, this is all built to be cloud first and enterprise grade. And the enabler for that is the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform. The way you can think about this is that the agent platform brings a few things. It brings all of Vertex AI with the ability to leverage all the Google models like Anthropic Claude, open source models, and more for your agents across your organization. You can connect those with all the tooling you need to ground them with data, connect them to systems, et cetera. And then it adds a set of new capabilities, just launched today, for governing those at scale, including an agent gateway, a new agent identity service that's generally available, agent registry and tools and skills registries, and more that come from other parts of Google Cloud and are managed and made available through this one agent platform for you. And it combines some new innovations coming from our DeepMind team, helping with how you achieve quality at scale with those agents and improve quality over time. But as the app on top of that, you can think of it taking those building blocks and putting them to work. So registry is great if it says that Jamie has access to 100 agents. But how, as an employee, do I see those agents? How do I share them with my team members? And how do we connect this to all of your enterprise systems? And this is what Gemini Enterprise app brings on top of this, with built-in connectors for over 50 first-party integrations, the ability to add a connector from any MCP server, personalized ranking for every employee of how we bring the best data to every interaction with AI or an agent, and front-end surfaces to use this through the Gemini Enterprise web interface, mobile apps, and third-party surfaces like Slack, Workspace, and more. So some of the new capabilities coming to Gemini Enterprise at the application layer this week include a number of updates across how you work, how we connect to data, and then manage and operate that. I'm going to go through a few highlights of those next, but we have a lot more, and happy to kind of cover those and follow-ups and additional materials for you following the event. The first is our no-code agent designer. This is really important because what we hear from organizations is they want two things. They're kind of almost the yin and the yang. They want the ability to have agentic reasoning. They want to leverage AI to do long-running, complicated tasks. To do that, you need a full agent that can leverage a sandbox environment, write their own code, create their own tools on the fly, connect to your systems, evaluate their own work, and iterate in the sandbox environment to achieve a high-quality outcome. So that's one, that's sort of long-running agents. But two, they also want the ability to put the outcomes of that on guardrails in specific operational policies that are different for different employees, different teams, and different scenarios. And so with Gemini Enterprise and the Agent Designer, we allow you to do just that. You can combine long-running agents with a no-code editor that allows you to create those guardrails and policies that the agent operates within to have deterministic outcomes for what you're doing with those agents. And I'll show an example of a long-running agent in my demo in a moment, but these are agents that can, as I mentioned, have a long-running file system, carry on for days of work, or maybe even run forever across sessions with shared context, execute code in a secure sandbox, leverage a computer use like a browser or other application, but do so in secure sandboxes that are in the cloud and are governed by your security policies, and instead of trying to manage a world in which agents can do that compilation of code and creation of tools and access all your systems on each of your employees' desktops or laptops, which is much harder to secure. With both of those features, I think what's really exciting is that the way that every employee works with AI shifts. It shifts from a world in which employees go to an agent or to the AI assistant and chat with it in a synchronous fashion to complete a task, to a world in which you have a team of agents operating in the background for you, and they only need to come to you when they need input from you or when they have results and updates for you. And to give one central place to manage all of those, we're introducing Inbox, which gives you a view of all of your agents operating in the background and the ability to manage notifications and respond with updates to each of them. Importantly, each employee can set up their own preferences for how they push those notifications to the mobile apps, to chat or Slack or email or other clients, and continue to interact with those agents from those clients as well and manage through multiple surfaces. We're also adding support for skills. So every employee can build their own skills to operationalize procedures that they want to use regularly and leverage those with their agents. And Canvas, so you can create documents, whether it be presentations, documents, or other things that you want to then share and open inside of Workspace or Microsoft PowerPoint, Word, and Microsoft 365. And we're announcing projects. Projects allow employees to work in one shared space with a fixed set of context and data and a shared conversation history that's long-running and kept over time. And they can not only collaborate with their human employee coworkers, but also with their digital agent coworkers in this space. So that's a quick overview of a few of the highlights coming. Next, let me give you a demo of what some of this looks like in a real scenario. So if we switch to the demo, let's imagine that we're a bank, and this bank wants to automate loan processing. I'm told by some of our customers, loan processing is like the most expensive part of the bank. There's like thousands or tens of thousands of loan officers in some cases. And processing a loan might take weeks or a month to go back and forth with a consumer to get the right information, go through the compliance checks, and other regulatory steps. So to do this, the first thing that this bank has done is to create a long-running agent. They wrote this agent in full code with the ability to leverage a sandbox and more. And as an employee, I can use that agent by coming into Gemini Enterprise and asking, give me the latest 10 unprocessed mortgage loan applications. Now, importantly, I didn't have to go and browse the agent gallery to find the right agent here. Gemini Enterprise understands which agents are available to me as an employee and understands the query and says that the best agent for this is the loan supervisor. And I can say, confirm, yes, I'd like to ask that agent. Now, as this runs, it'll come back with a queue of the loans for me, and I'll go ahead and ask to process the first one. Now, at this point, this is kind of a long-running task. This might take hours or a day or other longer amount of time. So next, let me show you what this looks like for the administrative team if we go under the hood. So the administrative team inside of the GCP console can see and manage the agent runtime. They can see the session for this. They see this request for the processing the latest loan application. They can see what the agent does under the hood. It calls document retriever, it validates documents, it checks the user's credit, has a risk assessment agent, a compliance agent, etc. And when that comes back, if I go to the next tab where I ran this in advance, in this case it comes back and says that this is flagged for human review. So this is great. I'm using this long-running agent through Gemini Enterprise. But now what I really want to do is automate the running of this inside of my procedures. Let's imagine that I'm the loan operations manager. I might want to put this into a set of policies that we run as an organization. So to do that, I'm going to go and I'm going to create a no-code agent as that loan officer. And I've done this in advance, but just to see how this works, as a knowledge worker, I could come in and say, okay, I want this to run on a scheduled trigger daily, grab all the latest loan applications, and then call that full code agent with the list of applications. And from there, I want to put this into a set of conditionals. And I can actually refresh this. I can run and test this as an employee inside of this environment and see how it flows through each step, what actually happens in the logic. And with the conditionals I've set up, if it flags for human review, the loan officer would get a notification through Gemini Enterprise, and they could approve or deny that. And we'll actually surface if they're approving or denying that as a quality signal to you as the IT team, and in the future, over time, use that to help self-improve how these agents run at scale. Now, in this case, this flows through to a human review step, and it will create an incident inside of ServiceNow, and then email me a notification for that. For sake of time, I ran that in advance in the next tab. You can see how it came through and created that. If I go to my email, I can check and open directly into ServiceNow the issue that was created. So what did we see here? We created a full code agent that's a long-running agent that works with the sandbox to create its own tools, write code, and evaluate its work and iterate until high-quality outcomes are achieved. But then we put that inside of a set of operational guardrails with a no-code agent that kind of makes this real for a real enterprise environment. Okay, next, let's say that I would like to report on this. And so next I'll ask, let's summarize all the loan applications from the latest batch. And this is actually functionality we built into the loan supervisor agent, where it will actually come back with some summary information for me, which looks really great here inside of Gemini Enterprise. It even creates an HTML report, so I could open that HTML report, and this is something I could copy into an email and send to my leadership. But now, let's say that I also want to create a slide deck with this report. That takes a couple of minutes, but we can showcase the capability in the next tab to open that slide deck that's created right inside of Gemini Enterprise through Canvas. So here I have a fully interactive environment where I can edit my slides, and I could share them to my team through Workspace or open directly into the Workspace app. And going further, we also want to extend the ability to call these agents from across Workspace and other surfaces like Slack. And so here, if my manager has asked me for the latest stats, I can go ahead, I'll go into this window so you can see it better. I can go ahead and mention the loan supervisor agent. That's an agent from Gemini Enterprise. And I can ask it to summarize the latest loan applications processed in the latest batch, and it will respond to myself and my manager in this chat with all that information so my manager can directly open that HTML report themselves. So with that, I mentioned how all of that comes together to mean a new way of working with AI. Employees now have a team of agents that operate in the background. And so the upcoming update to Gemini Enterprise is this, where I'll see right inside of my main window updates that need my review. I can click to view those in my inbox and filter to say all of the agentic tasks that are completed, those that are currently running in progress, and more. And so that's a quick look at some of what's coming to Gemini Enterprise over the coming announcements this week. Next, I'm going to invite our head of engineering on stage, Dave Tagare, who will walk us through the underlying platform and how we build this for quality. We can switch back to slides. Dave.
All right, everyone. Firstly, thank you for coming, and we appreciate your support for Gemini Enterprise. Thank you, Jamie. Wonderful demo there. And actually, not a demo, right? Like we're using some of these things, or most of these things. Hey, everyone, I'm Dave Tagare. I lead engineering for Gemini Enterprise. So Jamie showed us an awesome demo. Let's take a sneak peek under the hood and see what's actually happening, right? So here I have like what was the architecture as of this week, and what will be the architecture in like the very near future. So as of the past week, we actually switched to what we call a flattened planner plus skills architecture. Essentially, we moved away from the agent to sub-agent model into a more, the planner is just a dispatcher, everything to it in the ecosystem is a tool, where the planner gets a query in, decomposes it into many, many fan-out queries, and sees the world as a tool, the tools execute. Additionally, we have added skills support. It's already rolled out, wherein we are centralizing all the skills so every agent understands its own capabilities, which help prevent errors and hallucinations. Post-rollout, what we've noticed is that this architecture is actually giving about 40% drop in latencies at P95 already. So moving forward, how is this changing, right? Moving forward, we're actually going to enable something called the agent mode. This mode will support long-running agents with CLI plus dynamic skills, all the good stuff that enable you to run agents from like minutes or 20, 30-minute grain today to many weeks at the same time. Additionally, the architecture is also going to support universal context for longer-term memories, checkpointed state, because these long-running agents, let's say over a span of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, will have disaggregated sessions, so you need to know where to resume from, what your state was at that point, keep context between different turns or sessions of this specific agent type, and then take it up from there. We're also going to roll out heartbeats and event and time-based triggers that enable pretty complicated functionality. The triggers can also be modeled along the lines of like your own custom policies and feature sets. You can do this today with high-code agents on ADK 2.0, and these will soon be available out of the box on Gemini Enterprise in Q2 itself. Taking a look further into governance is a cornerstone of why we have Gemini Enterprise to begin with. So to scale AI securely, we're bringing in enterprise-grade governance to your digital workforce. We're doing this through investments in 5 key areas that you see listed here. First is agent observability and traceability. We provide you with detailed logs and traces to see exactly which agents are being invoked, what are they doing, what actions they are taking, and how your data is being processed, handled, all within a single console in GCP. Secondly, it's the agent registry. In practice, you will have many, many agents proliferating through your workforce. We want to get them into a single pane of glass so you can view all of your agents within the Gemini Enterprise app. Admins can discover, manage, invoke any and every agent across the workforce. Every employee can see the agents available to them and also initiate sharing following the governance principles or policies laid down by your organization. Now, in practice, agents need tools to do real work, right? We allow you to do that by bringing in your own MCP servers. BYO MCP is public preview as of today. Connect them via our low-code, no-code agents into the designer that Jamie showed just now, and instantly make them available through the Gemini Enterprise app. Fourth is agent identity. Just like humans, agents need clear identities and sort of like role-based access control associated with it. We give admins and users complete visibility and control over who an agent is, what it's supposed to do, and the associated permissions with it. And finally, you need a point of enforcement to tie it all together. This is where the agent gateway comes in, which lets admins allow and set policies within the GCP console and then enforce it for all ingress and egress traffic. So if an agent goes rogue, it cannot exfiltrate any data outside of your organization. Digging in a little bit more into agent observability, agent observability includes audit logging, overview metrics, and agent tracing. Here's a quick glance into audit logging. And more importantly, what you get with this is full OTel compliance, which means you can export all of this data, these metrics and logs, into your favorite observability system and analyze them further. A quick look here tells you like the sessions you've had for a given agent, the number of turns per session, how many invocations, the traffic patterns, input-output token distribution, so on and so forth. On the agent management front, I think the big call-outs here are effectively for agent security and registry. Let me focus on identity here a little bit more than the registry, because Jamie sort of covered the registry pieces in his slides. We're deploying GCP-wide identity framework, which is based on SPIFFE as the standard. This is a huge differentiator against any competitive product in this space. Essentially, it gives you the security you need to trust running your agents across organizations with access to all of your data. It allows you to differentiate between Dave's agent, what Dave's agent did, meaning something the agent did on my behalf, versus me doing something directly, right? Additionally, the ability to leverage my access or access on my behalf is ephemeral, which means after the session goes away, the access goes away, and everything is closed and gated down after that point. Let me jump over to agentic security a little bit more. Here, we've released 2 sets of features and products, or 2 sets of integrations into other product portfolios. First is Model Armor, which is already GA. Model Armor protects you and your application from prompt injections, jailbreaks, malicious content, bad URLs, stuff like that. It plugs directly into the gateway, which means it monitors all ingress and egress traffic in line with your company's policies. Similarly, SDP, or sensitive data protection, gives you PII detection and prevention policies right into your workflow, so you can mask sensitive data before it crosses the client side. Jumping over a little bit more, how does it all get together into a single point of enforcement? That's where the agent gateway comes into the picture. Agent gateway is already in preview, and it serves as a single point of policy enforcement. Architecturally, the gateway sits between any client or your client, such as the Gemini Enterprise app, and your backend resources, which could include your models, your APIs, your tools, BYO, MCP, so on and so forth. Its core function or functionality is to give you the ability to author policies, apply them in order to secure, govern, and monitor any agent to external system interactions. Whether an agent is communicating with another agent, executing a tool, or any kind of APIs outside of the GE environment, the gateway ensures that access authorization security policies are consistently applied for all ingress and egress at a single request level. It also gives you the ability to capture logs, traces, and metrics at the gateway level itself, so you know what's happening, and these are all pulled together into a single view in Pantheon. Now let's connect all, I'm going to skip over to the demo now, which is going to be fun because I want to show you how all of these tie into your agent development lifecycle. And thankfully, the session is not timed out.
I realized I didn't leave it on the right tab for you.
All right,
There you are.
thank you, sir. All right, perfect. As you can tell, this is Jamie's laptop, so I have no idea how to operate it. All right, so when I think about the agent development lifecycle, right, I think about it in terms of 4 categories. Category 1 is really you want to build an agent, you want to scale the deployments, as in scale the agent which is deployed in production. You want to have governance and control over what the agent is supposed to do, and you want to optimize over time to make sure there is no regressions, data skews change, traffic patterns change, your external integrations change. So you want to make sure that what is in production keeps on running and humming along smoothly. So that's how the agent platform is designed into these 4 phases: build, scale, govern, and operate. And we're continuing to add more and more features in each of these categories. In the build phase, I think Agent Garden is the point where you start from. This gives you pre-curated templates and recipes for spinning up an agent. All of these are ADK based, but you could bring in arbitrary recipes that your company may want to have into this, and they don't need to be just ADK. They can be whichever framework of choice for authoring an agent. I personally like the LLM auditor and the travel agent. It's kind of nifty. I use it in personal capacity. I also like the chatbot agent, which gives you a nice starting point to build a chatbot. Skipping forward to what it means in production side, right? If I go, I can see all the deployments of the agents I've done. Seems like someone's been enthusiastic to spin up an agent 2 minutes ago, which is awesome, perfect time for a demo. But here you can see a bunch of agents that are in production. Let me see what the travel orchestrator agent is doing. You have a bunch of details when you click through the agent here. It gives you when it's created, it gives you the name, where it's deployed, so on and so forth. I can tell it's an A2A agent by the card here in terms of the protocols implemented. And I can also tell that it has an external OAuth app associated with it. It's leveraging 3 skills: Confluence, Trello, and Loom. So now you kind of get a picture of what is all connected into it. You have a protocol, you have the skills associated, you have words deployed, so on and so forth. I personally like to jump over to some of the observability elements of this, where I can see all of the observability metrics in a single tab. I can see my average latency, I can see agentic traffic. From what I can tell, this sawtooth wave represents a scheduled agent or a trigger-based agent. So someone's running it ever so frequently, probably to figure out what the best pricing for a given thing is. And then you can also see what the execution semantics of this agent are, what frequencies, so on and so forth. That's actually done via the session management tab. So a session essentially represents an interaction between you and the agent itself. We basically keep track of the conversational history that you have had with the agent, any actions that your agent has taken in that course, during the course of the execution. And we also retain memory for long-term agent execution, so we don't miss context in the subsequent turn or in the subsequent iteration of the session, right? Now, you could say, what is a memory? A memory is effectively a custom recipe that you might give in addition to us saving your prompt histories, the agent outcomes, so on and so forth. I could say, you know what, I want to personalize my travel agent by only looking at memberships that I have with my frequent flyer cards and tickets and so on and so forth. That can be modeled as a memory. It learns that Dev prefers to fly whatever, Alaska Airlines, so on and so forth. Let me skip forward to the governance side of it, where you get to see all of your agents in one view. Some are A2A agents, some are non-A2A agents. It gives you the endpoint that it's going against. It tells you what the runtime is. So for example, the internal IT assistant is on the agent platform runtime, and the marketing copywriter is a direct Gemini Enterprise agent, as in it was created from within Gemini Enterprise. Something called the agent one seems directly on GKE. I'm going to assume it is still an A2A agent, but probably the underlying authoring framework could be like LangChain, LangGraph, what have you. And that sort of gives you a perspective on what the registry is, how it ties back into the gateways, how it ties back into other associated policies, and how you build, deploy, govern, and scale over time. All right, that's me. I am going to hand it over to our awesome partner from KPMG, Aaron, now, and they will walk you through their experiences with GE. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Thank you.
Hopefully you all can hear me. Thanks, Dave. Really excited to be up here. Appreciate Google inviting us. We're going to talk a little bit about our journey at KPMG with we almost said Agent Space, Gemini Enterprise. It's been about 7 months, so we're going to talk a little bit about our approach to Gemini Enterprise. First of all, just to give you a little bit of a high-level architecture thinking, we look at Gemini Enterprise as that concierge layer. And we broke it down into really 3 components. Find and understand. So the data fields, or the data connectors, being able to find information, understand information with Gemini. Then act. We're moving into the act phase, being able to take action. When I see something, when I find it, I understand it, I want to take action. And being able to do that, as Jamie pointed out, across our enterprise systems. So you can see here, this is how we're thinking about Gemini Enterprise and being able to use it to manage our enterprise space. The other thing we think about with Gemini Enterprise is that it's ultimately going to help us abstract a lot of things that are going on. A lot of us are going through digital transformations. A lot of us are going through journey to the cloud. A lot of us are dealing with the constant influx of agents. The idea being, can we abstract that with Gemini Enterprise and be able to make it simple for the user? They don't need to know what agent it is they're talking to necessarily because Gemini Enterprise is invoking that agent. They don't need to know what system they're talking to. If you think about the previous slide, we've kind of abstracted that for them. So ultimately, they are just interacting with Gemini Enterprise to find, understand, and take action on the variety of different things that they're looking to do. Reducing the cognitive load off of folks so they don't need to know, hey, I transitioned to a new SAP system, I've transitioned to a new Salesforce system. The idea being that they're just interacting with Gemini Enterprise, and at the end of the day, they're simply simplifying those interactions. So give you a little sense of what our stats look like over the last 7 months. So we rolled this out in September to about 38,000 users. As you can see, that second row, our adoption rate was about 90%. You heard a little bit about that on the keynote this morning. We've since extended it to some of our offshore resources, roughly about 50,000 now total. We're increasing those numbers, but you can see we're rolling this out. The adoption is super high, it's super sticky, and we're really excited about the fact that that strategy is starting to take hold across the US. This gives you a sense of what we've seen in volumes since we rolled this out. About 28,000 prompts a day. These numbers are actually already been exceeded because it's a couple of months old. We're almost at 45,000 notebooks created. We've seen about 15,000 low-code agents get created. And we've also shared about 800 agents. This shows 600, but we've seen an increase to about 800 agents being shared using the shared feature. So we're really promoting that organic innovation, people building their own agents. You saw a lot about those agents, but being able to promote sharing of those agents so we can capture a lot of that organic innovation activity coming from the ground up. This will show you a little bit about the prompt usage. We're trajecting up. Again, a little bit outdated, but you can see that that trend is moving to the right place for us, seemingly giving us a lot of that value and stickiness from that Gemini Enterprise experience. Then we focus a little bit on some of the value. For us, the value is seen in really 2 key areas. Number 1, time saved in finding information. You think about that slide we started with, find and understand. This gives you a sense of we're able to really find that information, and we're also ultimately able to decrease the amount of time people are out there looking for things. The other thing is that the sentiment metrics is super high. People are very excited about it. As you can see, they have confidence. They are definitely finding it useful, usable, and they have a high satisfaction rate. So this is really giving us a sense of what the user sentiment is, not only how much they're using it, but how much they enjoy using it, and how much they have confidence in their use of it. Real-world application. We talked a little bit about organic innovation and some of the things that Jamie and Dave talked about. For us, this is a real-world example. We had someone go out and build an agent around IP risk. And in this particular case, the idea was we build marketing material, build a variety of different things that go out into the marketplace, using this agent and the orchestrated functions in the agent designer to be able to create stages, steps, sub-agents, to be able to manage those agents across the board, but ultimately being able to produce a document review agent that looks and finds any IP infringement, looks and finds any risk in content. So ultimately, the people producing the PDFs, producing the marketing material, at the end of the day, validated whether or not there was any IP infringements or risk with releasing that data out into the market. So in conclusion, some key takeaways. AI is a core team member. As you can see, for us, we really want to build from the bottom up, automate the work we do, be able to drive that organic innovation. That unified platform, trying to create that abstraction, being able to ultimately take it to a place where you no longer have to worry about what the systems are underneath. And then lastly, find, understand, act, create shorter timelines to be able to take action and be able to measure that capability. All right, now I'd like to turn over to Lisa from Signal Iduna.
I am very looking forward to use all the new features, I think, as you also do. But let's do a reality check how it's going with Gemini Enterprise in a large and old insurance company, which maybe is not so innovative sometimes. So last year, exactly 1 year ago, we decided to give Gemini Enterprise a chance. And 6 months later, last October, we went live with Gemini Enterprise. We went live with 11,000 people, so all over employees. Why everyone? Because we believe in our strategy, first use, then case, and then value. Because we believe everyone in a company should use AI, should learn how to integrate AI in their daily working life, and then personal productivity leads automatically into use cases, for example, into agents, and into value. Last October, we had our big marketing campaign. You can see it there. You can see our office. And it was our biggest marketing campaign and a change management. So to get everyone on board, we had a big day, but it's an ongoing journey. And this ongoing journey you can see in the numbers, and I think they speak for themselves. We have 80% monthly active user. We have 12 high-code agents that everyone in the company can use. And we have over 100 AI ambassadors. And these AI ambassadors are really, really crucial for our AI adoption in our company. But a very good example for our success in Signal Iduna is our custom-built healthcare agent, which supports our employees with every health-related inquiry from our customers. So it's a custom-built agent, it's embedded in Gemini Enterprise, and it uses our very, very large and sometimes old healthcare-related database that every inquiry from customers can be answered. So the database is used as a point, ground truth to answer every inquiry from point of sale to claims management. And this example shows that the combination of AI agents and employees leads to very high value, both on internal side and on the customer face. So with this agent, our custom-built healthcare agent, we saw a 400% increase of usage within the first 3 months after launch, which showed that we really have hit a right spot for our employees. Also, the time answering our client injuries went significantly down. We are now 37% faster. And last but not least, the transfer rate went down to only 3%. So an employee don't have to ask someone else. He can chat with our agent and get quickly an answer. So if you want to take one point from my talk, please involve everyone you can possibly get in our AI journey that you can first have use and then case and value. Jamie, back to you.
Amazing. Thank you both. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Lisa. I think it's great to hear about all the new capabilities, but seeing it put to practice across an organization with all of the challenges that an enterprise has at scale for doing that data in a governed way, in a regulated environment, and with real people that have to change their way of working is where this really kind of rubber meets the road. So incredible examples. Thank you both for sharing those. Just to wrap up, there's a couple more capabilities that we announced this morning, and one of those is around our ecosystem and partnerships. We launched a major update to our agent marketplace with key partners like you see on screen here, from ServiceNow to Workday to Box to Lovable, everything from startups to large systems integrators and ISVs. And employees get access to that marketplace right inside of the Gemini Enterprise dashboard, where they can then browse those agents, request access to new agents from the marketplace, and your IT team can govern the policy to give them access. So I'll welcome my team back on stage. You can get started now with this. There's a number of resources available to you to leverage these through agents, to leverage context across your organization, to govern and manage it at scale, and to connect it to all of your knowledge. And we have a number of sessions here at Cloud Next this week to continue to dive deeper into these capabilities with Gemini Enterprise. And we'd love your feedback on the session.